Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to EML. Let's try that again as I press the wrong button. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to EML. It's Season 6 of this F2 season, and we are here in Hungary on the Hungaroring for round 3. And as you can see, the guys are already out doing their laps, and we've got the first lap on the board. It's RLS Nordic Ninja with a 1:15 to set us off. We've got a full grid tonight, which is great to see. Let's do this. And let's try and see these laps as they're coming through. We've got a load of guys running through the final turns. Now let's go on board with EXT Nam. No one has beaten that time as of yet. Pole Para closest to Nordic Ninja, 3/10 off. EXT Nam closest so far to that current pole position time. Jordan Lancer just started his lap. What can he do? He's rounding himself. Here's another man that can definitely compete. You've got EXT Duncan as well out there, but LDL Nico won a race this season. Round 1. Can he challenge this time? Oh, it's close. It's second fastest. 2/10 away. RVL Alexinho. No, it's not. It's RVL Killer Storm coming up to the line. Let's see who's the furthest round of the guys currently on laps. It's going to be Duncan. So let's see what EXT Duncan can do. The man from the French team that had a very good round 1 recovery from both their drivers from the back of the grid. What can he do? It's 9th fastest. A bit of work to do there for the EXT man. Up next, Jordan Lancer. He's also got Alexinho right up behind him. So we're going to get 2 quick-fire times here. Alexinho, has gone into the pits. Jordan Lancer plots himself into P4. Next is, in fact, Rambo. What can he do now from there? It's up to P12, a 1:16. Time to find there for the RLS man. Next comes another LDL driver, PLX. Let's see what he can do as he comes up towards the line. It's looking fairly good. It's in the 15s. It's a 15.5. And then Killer Storm comes up to the line and posts a 16.2. So the only man currently on a lap is Ghost. So let's go on board with Ghost for a lap. There we go then. Ghost sets a 1:16.3. So we're waiting on Jerome and Alexinho to set times. But Nordic Ninja, the first man to set a lap, is currently sitting on provisional pole. And he's about to go again to try and improve on this 1:15.07 We've got people in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Let me know you're here. Let me know who you're supporting. Get in the comments, like the stream, subscribe to League Racing TV so you don't miss out on any more of this F2 season, and what an F2 season it's proving to be already. 2 races in. It's Nordic Ninja invalidate, so he's not going to be improving. So this is a free run for the others here, because that time isn't going to improve. Let's go on board with DLX Pablo. And they didn't have the best of starts in round 1 in Spain. I missed last week's race, unfortunately. I was watching the mighty Chelsea. Maze, no need to comment anything. I know you're sitting there waiting to. But Pablo is only just up on his own time. No, he's down. He's down on his own time by a mere 1,000th of a tenth. So he's doing well time-wise, but where can he find that extra little bit of improvement in this middle sector? A really, really tough middle sector. It's a love or hate track, really. It's quite a Marmite track, this Hungary ring. Personally, I really enjoy it as Pablo runs wide on exit. But I really enjoy this track. I think it's quite flowing. It's a fun one to race. It produces good battles as well, as Pablo we see going to the pits, so he's not going to improve. Let's go on board with a team we haven't been on board with just yet. QSL Rumsco, the Aston Martin car that they are running. So far, Rumsco Mustik sitting 15th and 19th, so they'll be looking to make some improvements. Mustik, who had a decent run in Spain for the first round, and unfortunately towards the end of the race I believe had a little incident. Someone tangled with himself as Rumsco plonks his car up a couple of places into P13 respectively. Let's go on boards with Lucas, one of the TGF men. TGF winning last week. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what race it was, so apologies. But TGF did get a double podium as well, so they really done well last week and have put themselves up there. We'll go through the standings shortly at some point when we fit in some space, but currently there's cars absolutely flying around the track everywhere at the moment. Some have really bolted to get their laps in, like Nordic Ninja's already out again for a 3rd attempt at a lap, but here comes Lucas up to the line, and it's ever so close, just under 2,000ths away from that time, as LDL Nico goes even closer. It's a 1:15.074. Wow, look at that, the top 3. You couldn't ask for anything more than that, really, as Jordan Lartzer is rounding the last 2 corners. He currently sits in P5. I see Paul Parra of TGF is also on a lap. Jordan Lartzer puts himself in front of EXT Nam, currently in the pits. He'll have to come out, respond, try and push himself back up into that 2nd row at least. Here comes Paul Parra, though. It was saying to me there, a purple sector in Sector 2, but we know what this game is like. It does fib. But was it telling the truth this time, as Paul Parra goes on provisional pole, and once again that time is very, very tight. But wow, what a top 4 that is. Really pushing it to the limit. Shows that any little mistake, any little bit of extra track can really hinder or gain you an advantage here. So it's looking very, very tight. Can anyone else plot themselves up there? LD, I don't think Duncan is on a lap. It didn't look like he was pushing to me. I'll go back on board just in case. He's definitely not pushing. LDL PLX, he's not pushing either. Pablo, is he on a lap? I believe he is. I think we saw him invalidate earlier. We're still waiting on one car to settle out. It's LRN Jeroen, but I believe they may have a qualifying ban. So I think Jerome is serving a qualifying ban for LRN. There we go. And Martin is the only one car on track, as we see Pablo once again invalidates. Nordic Ninja, though, who has been holding provisional pole, has also invalidated. So has he got enough fuel to go again? I mean, he's flashing at the moment. He's trying to, I think, build up his energy store. So he's got 75%, but he's got no track left. So he's going to have to use what he's got here and just go for it. He's not going to be able to come back in and have time. Let's just check. Someone's coming around the final corner. It's Ghost. He's invalidated, so we'll move back to Nordic Ninja. What can he do? Can he respond? He's not using the ERS from what it looks like. So if he is pushing, why is he not yet to use that ERS battery? He's not pushing, is he? No, he's not. He's not pushing, so he's going round again, is Nordic. I hope he's got enough fuel. Maybe he did it on purpose, overfueling, just in case this scenario were to pop up. I see Jerome has actually come out, so maybe it's not a qualifying ban. But before everyone else comes out for their last attempts, let me see who's in the comments. ZQ says, hi, good banker, and that was about Nordic Ninja from the start. It was a very good banker, held its own for at least half the session there. As we see Alexinho coming up to the line. Not a competitive time. May says, who will win the race, Lesty? You know what? It's hard. I've only seen one race. It's hard to judge people off of one race, as I'm actually going to go back to Nordic Ninja here, because I believe this could be his push lap now. Is he pushing? Yeah, this looks more like a push lap to me. I don't know. Not sure at the moment. I want to go EXT NAM. I'm just going to put it out there. That's the name I've chosen. EXT NAM to win the race for me. James says, supporting Lesty's voice. Thank you, mate. Yeah, unfortunately, co-commentator couldn't be here again this evening, but you have me, your ever faithful Lesty, and his voice. It will be gone by the end of this race, but for the love of EML, why not? May says, Hungary, an awesome track. I am with you, Maze. Definitely an awesome track. Love it. Free flowing. Got a bit of everything about it, really, and I really love the amount of overtaking opportunities. There is quite a lot if you know where to use them, as everyone is coming out now. That's everyone apart from Jerome out of the pits. But here comes Ninja up to the line. Oh, wow, that was close. But Nordic Ninja couldn't do it. And is that it for the man from RLS, as everyone else is now out on their laps? GT10 Wunduk says, hello to you too, my friend. Who's the furthest out? Currently on a lap. PLX isn't on a lap. Alexinho seems to have been out there forever. He's 1 second down on his time. So is Rambo on a lap? Rambo looks to be on a lap. So there's a lot of cars, though. Look at that traffic in Sector 3. Everyone's trying to find the space, trying to build a gap, but they've got to be really careful here, because you've got a car of Rambo coming up to this second last turn. And let's go on board. Let's see what this traffic's going to be like. Hopefully everyone's out of the way. Here's the car about to start his lap. Oh, and he just gets out of the way. He might have got away with it if he just stayed where he was and committed. Rambo puts himself into P12. I don't know how long we've got of the session in terms of who's got time to make it round. It's Martin and Paul Para who are going to be the last to get round here. Who's that coming up to the line? Who is it? It's Ghost. So he's starting his final attempt. So I think it's going to be Duncan who's going to go last. Oh, no, he's done. He's invalidated. So Duncan's not going to have an attempt. Who's that? It's Lucas of TGF. So here we go. The last run's coming in. A checkered flag is out. What can Lucas do? He's so close already, and he's into the 14s. The first man into the 14s, and that could be enough. GT10. Not Diavel. It's Skies. He can't get anywhere near it. I see a Haas coming up to the line. It's not Tigres. It's Pablo. Up to P7. That's a good time to put in a strong lap. Jordan Lancer stays in 5th. Nico also coming up to the line. What can he do? Can he respond to the TGF man? He can. He's into the 114s. 9.28. Here comes Diavel of GT10. Where can he go? Nowhere. Stays where he is. Nam coming up to the line. Stays where he is. Where is Paul Parry? He's coming around the final turns. Rambo is into the pit. Martin is behind as well. Ghost is also still going. Paul Parra, can he have the final say on this qualifying? No, he can't. And that might be that. Martin, he's not going to improve. Ghost improves up to P17. And that is your qualifying session. Nico nicks it at the end. Nico nicking pole for LDL. The TGF pair of Lucas and Paul Parra. So close but so far. Lucas, well done for getting into the 14s and putting that benchmarker there. But Nico, the Frenchman, comes back with a belter of a lap. But look at those timings, ladies and gentlemen, down the left-hand side. That is brilliant. Everyone down from like P14 to pole. It's really, really great to see. Really, really tight racing. Tight qualifying session there. And that's what you want to see. There we go then. Confirmation. LDL Nico is your pole position for the Hungary race. I did say Frenchman, but he has a Belgian flag. I could have been wrong there. Lucas P2, Paul Parra in P3. Nordic Ninja, who held pole position for a while there, in P4. Jordan Lancer 5, 6 is Nam. Pablo in 7th. Killer Storm 8th. Duncan 9th. Martin rounds off the top 10. Then it's Diavel, PLX, Tigrex, Rambo, Alexinho, Rumsco, Ghost, Skies, Moostic, and finally Jeroen, who we believe was serving a qualifying ban. Ooh, that ramped up towards the end, ladies and gents. We got 30 people in here. Hello, everyone. Please do like the stream, subscribe to League Racing TV. If you do both those things and say hello in the comments, then you can be my best friend. How about that? That's an offer you can't refuse. Vico in the chat says, go QSL. Not the strongest of qualifyings from QSL, but we saw Moostic in round 1 at Spain have a strong race. Can he have another strong race here and get himself up towards maybe the top 5? James Heads also in the chat, the PSF1 commentator, which will be starting in around half an hour, 8 p.m. If you want to watch that, that's him and Mike in the commentary box, and he makes the brilliantly timed joke of the teams will be hungry for more. Bravo, James, bravo. But yeah, make sure to tune into F1, where we have the fiercest teams in esports going head-to-head in our top tier at the Hungary ring. That'll be a blinder. I'll be watching that right after this one, as I will be resting my voice. IRTC in the chat says, yo, supporting on watching, maybe scouting, as IRT, one of those teams from PSF1. Looking for new talent coming through, and there is plenty here. EML always is a good place for drivers to show off their talents to the bigger bigger, more known teams. But it can be a dangerous place for the smaller teams that do have the talent, and then it becomes a bit hard for them to keep them within that team. Maxence in the chat says, "Let's go QSL, show them." So a lot of QSL fans in the stream. That's great to see. One of our new teams here. Le Bonbon as well in the chat. But here we go. 5 lights, round 3, Hungary. And away we go. It looks like Nico has managed to get a pretty good start here. But Paul, Para, Lucas are coming. Lucas looking for the inside. He's got it on Nico. He's going to force him wide. But and there's a tangle up ahead. Let's go forward. We're going to miss the battle here as Lucas is still there alongside. He's got the inside. Nico will have the next inside. And he gets the position. Skies is out. And that is a VSC. We've got penalties galore coming through. We saw Paul Para got spun around after turn 1. And that was not a clean start to this one. The VSC is out. I'm quickly going to take... I can't hear myself when the camera goes on board. Give me one moment, ladies and gents. I just need to... I don't know why. That's coming through so loud for me. Right, that might be a bit better. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything. We're still under VSC conditions. Let me get you the tyres up, because I know people like to see the tyres. Most of the field starting on a hard tyre. Martin, Mustik and Rambo, the 3 drivers to start on the medium. And we're going to see a few pit stops here, I think. I think there's a fair bit of damage gone on there. Obviously, we've lost GT10 Skies, unfortunately. It's never great to lose a car off the start of the race. We want to see a full grid in action. And PLX has left the session. Hopefully he can get back in. Don't like to see drivers being thrown out of the race. And we're back under green flag racing. So Lucas and Nico getting away from the rest of the pack thanks to, well, Paul Para being spun around and everyone having to take avoiding action to try and not collide with that Williams TGF car. But it's LDL versus TGF for the race lead here at the front, and Jordan Lancer, as you can see behind, I believe is pushing to try and get back within a second to stay with them. Let's go on board with Nordic Ninja, who showed pretty good pace in that qualifying session. Can he show equally as strong race pace here today? Oh, we're seeing Lucas right on the back of Nico. He's really giving Nico a hard time here, putting him under a lot of pressure. We see a move further down. Alexinho on PLX, Paul Para on Mustik as well. As Mustik, I believe, is fighting back, but Paul Para trying to make up all those positions that he's lost. Good to see LDL PLX is back in the race. Hopefully he can get back in that car pronto, because he's now lost a second position to Jeroen and made that third as Ghost goes through. But Lucas continues to hound, and Jordan Lancer is joining them. So Jordan looking like he's got a good bit of pace under that car. So he's well in this fight, and he's going to be held up now. So I think Nam is going to breach this DRS gap as well. He's not far off. He's pushing. As Jordan Lancer, we've missed that. Apologies, but I believe Lucas on the exit there might have made a mistake. Maybe he ran wide, because he seemed to be on the back of Nico. And Jordan Lancer seems to have made it through fairly easy. DRS is obviously now in play, so this is the first straight we're going to see of the DRS. Nico is going to be under some pressure as Nam takes the fastest lap. Jordan Lancer moves to the inside. Down turn 1 he goes. He runs deep though. Switch back for Nico. But Jordan keeps the DRS and he actually has very good traction out of the corner. And it's Nico who's the one under pressure from Lucas. Once again, Lucas getting the inside this time. But Nico holds out. Stays in P2 as Killer Storm. You see, no. GT10 Diablo getting the fastest lap, and Diablo needs to have a really good race here because Sky's crashing out after turn 1 means they are down to just the sole driver. So a lot of weight on the shoulders of Diablo to bring home some valuable points here for GT10. Here you are. I did say, didn't I, earlier, that EXT Nam, I believe he was going to bridge this gap, and he has. So we've got a train forming up here, all the way down to about P10. And here we go again. It's DRS time. Going to see a lot of moves down here, but Jordan Lancer seems to have broken off a decent amount, giving himself a nice gap as Lucas goes deep. Will that open the door? No, Nam is not in a position to take advantage. So Lucas getting away with that one. But we are seeing a move behind. It's Nam and Nordic Ninja. Nordic Ninja trying to make a move on the EXT man. Nordic Ninja gets a big tank slapper. Good save though. Keeps that car moving in a straight line and facing the right way. And now Rumsco leaves the session. That's not good. Don't want to see that for the QSL man. Rumsco and Mystic sitting in 12th and 13th. So sitting good so far. And Mystic actually keeping Pole Para behind. So doing a good job. We won't go back there because we know Rumsco has lagged out. So that's just the ghost car running a bit slow. So his teammate has taken advantage. Pole Para will probably take advantage of this as well and get past the QSL man, which is a shame to see. Never want to see some free passes. So Nico now a bit closer this time to Jordan Lancer. Will he be making a move? No, but we will see a move again. Nordic Ninja up the inside of Nam. Nam's going to go for the switchback, but Ninja seems to have the position done. No worries there for Nordic Ninja. Moves himself up into P4. EXT though, still looking good as Jerome is the latest driver to leave the session. I don't know what's going on, but we're having a driver fall out of the session every other lap here, which isn't great to see. You want to see drivers staying in and not having their laps affected by dropping out of the session. But yeah, EXT having a good race here is Jerome. Jerome's. But yeah, I'm forgetting what I'm even talking about. But EXT, yes, having a good race here. Sitting 5th and 6th, Nam and Duncan. So they'll be happy with that so far. I think there's no need to rush here. You're on the hard tyres. You've got to take these tyres long, so you don't really want to be burning through these tyres too quickly. You need to be pushing them as hard as you can, as far as you can, sorry. And I wonder if the strategy here, if anyone will be open to trying to push these to maybe a soft stint at the end of this race. I'm not sure that it will happen, but some drivers will take the risk. And I'm seeing Rambo is quite close to PLX here. He's looking down the inside, but that door closes as quickly as it opened. Pole Para on the back of Jerome, who's still yet to rejoin, I think. So that might be a free pass for him. We'll go back to the front as there's no real close battles. I see Diavol and Martin at the back, and as we say that, Diavol has taken a spin. This race is not one to remember for the GT10 team. There's Jordan Lancer gets a 3-second time is big for the lead of this race and for the result of this race, because that could be the difference between a race win and a podium, or even outside of the podium. With the current gaps we have, he would be dropping, let me check, he would be dropping to P6. So that could be quite damaging to Jordan's final result here this evening, as Lucas is now eyeing up a move on Nico. We've seen these two go side by side already numerous times in this Grand Prix. And so far, Nico has come out on top every time. The only man to beat both of them is Jordan Lancer, who pretty much flew by both of them within the space of a lap. We got some people tuning in. Vico says Vamos Mustik. Mustik doing well, sitting pretty in P12 so far. No need to rush himself. Going strong on those medium tyres. Felix says will be a fun race to watch until Tier 1. Pole Power with a comeback maybe. Well, we've seen Pole Power's pace. We saw it in qualifying. We have seen it in the races so far this season. He's got his work cut out though, sitting in P11, struggling to get through the field at the moment. There is some DRS trains, so overtaking has been difficult so far within these first 8 laps. We haven't seen as much as I would have thought, but here we go. We're going to see some now as Nico goes down the inside of Jordan Lancer. Are we going to see a freeway into turn 1? No, we're not. As Lucas actually loses the rears a bit on exit. Jordan Lancer looking to come back at Nico. Is he going to look at the outside? He is a little. But these three having a right good ding-dong at the front. And Nordic Ninja and the EXT boys are sitting pretty behind, waiting to see if any errors are made, like that one from Lucas. Getting a bit too up close to the back of that Alpine of Jordan Lancer. And that's given Nordic Ninja a nice bit of time there. So really, really strong battle coming from these top 6 so far. Then you've got Alexinho, who's kind of in a world of his own here. He's 2.5 seconds off these guys, and then he's 2 seconds ahead of the guys behind him. And then you've got another train going down to Mustik. So, but let's go back to the front of the field, and Nico might be in trouble here. He has actually bridged a bit of a gap, but that DRS is so strong down that main straight. But Jordan Lancer thinks better of going for a move, maybe eyeing up one here, but the rears not really lighting up on exit of turn 1, as Lucas takes a bit too much curb actually. You could hear him lock up the front left. So no overtaking. Like I said, first 10 laps, and I was expecting to see more overtaking than I have seen. Slooby says, let Pole Power cook, TGF on top. Lucas doing well so far. Pole Power obviously got spun around at the start, not ideal. Sitting in P11 at the moment, hasn't been able to make the progress that he would have liked to in terms of a comeback to the front, and really needs to start filtering through these guys in front, but it's so hard when you're in a DRS train. So I do feel for him in there. It's not easy to break out of that. As the top 6 round the final corner, and we get back to the straight again. Are we going to see any moves? I'm not sure that Jordan Lancer is close enough, so I think we're going to say line the stern as Lucas goes pretty deep, almost pushing Jordan Lancer around turn 1 there. He's really late on the brakes, is Lucas. I've noticed that a few times. Might just be his racing style, but it's dangerous when you're following cars so close, because if they brake earlier than you, or even slightly earlier than they usually would to what you're used to them doing, you can then catch you out, bang, you're into the back of them, you've caused an incident, and you're looking at a penalty post race. So got to be really careful when following others. Let's go on board this lovely helicopter shot. These are great shots. We need more of these coming up. It's nice to commentate over these. You can see everything. Some of the angles you're given are just completely useless in terms of the commentary. Talking of useless commentary, if you think mine is useful, please do like the stream. And we'll carry on running through as we hit lap 12. Are we going to see any moves on this one? I think Lucas might be eyeing up a move on Jordan. No, he's not. Is he going to go deep again? He does. Really throws himself deep into these corners. Really running the risk of running into the back of Jordan Lancer here. But we stay line astern, and still there's no movement in positions all the way down the field. So we're as we are here, and I think we're in a bit of a stalemate really, and it's going to be who blinks first in terms of the pits. What lap are we going to be pitting on these hard tyres? I reckon it's going to be about lap 19, lap 20, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys watching the stream, but I believe that's when these hards can run till about 18, 19, 20. The EXT have got a bit of a problem because they've got these two boys of Nam and Duncan, and they don't want a double stack. So one of them is going to have to go earlier or later than they would have liked to. So keep an eye out for the pit stops. Who's going to go for the undercut? I believe the undercut is quite strong here. So we'll keep an eye for when one of these top six fly into the pits. We're going to see a few moves. There's Jordan Lancer around the outside. You see Lucas going defensive on Nordic Ninja. Now we're coming alive a bit as Jordan Lancer gets a really good exit, but so does Nico. And we stay as we are. So we saw a couple of attempts there. But it does seem like one or two drivers struggling on exit of turn one. And these hard tyres are pretty much in their prime now, although starting to edge on the side of old and wearing. Not seeing any movement further back. Alexinho still sits 2.7 off of these guys on his own and still holds a gap of 1.7 seconds to the chasing pack behind him. Then you've got PLX, Rambo, Pole Para, and Moostic in that little train. Moostic, although falling away from that train, and we saw just further back 15th and 16th the ILRN pair of Martin and Jeroen swapping places. But let's go back to the top six, switch our attention to what could be a move for the lead, but we're going to see Jordan just tuck in. I think seems every other lap here. I think they're just sort of keeping themselves stable, putting some good laps in. It's really going to be on these pit stops. These pit stops are going to be key timing wise, and who's going to force the hand of another driver. But I still think we're a good 5 laps away from seeing any hard runners pit. I'm seeing actually a close battle behind. Rambo pressurised in the back of LDL PLX. But he's actually now fallen away. He's lost half a second within a couple of turns, and now he's the one that's being pressured by the TJF man of Pole Para, which some would say in the comments is out of position and should be up there in that top 6 field. As Tigrex back in P17 respectfully picks up a time penalty, and it's not a great race so far for DLX. P17 and P19 really struggling, obviously being caught up in some early incidents. And here comes Jordan for the lead, round the outside of turn 1. Is he going to get the traction? No, Nico again gets the better traction and stays in P1. Jordan's got to be careful he doesn't push himself wide too much or out of line, as Lucas is sitting there waiting to pounce on any mistakes. As here goes Jordan. Ooh, I thought he was going to look for a move up into the left-hander, but it's a tricky place, tricky place, running the risk of colliding, going for a move up there. You've got to have a lot of trust in your... Oh, as we see a move further back, and it's a VSC as Rambo come off. Let's have a look at the front of that car. Oh, I believe he's missing his right end plate. Oh, is that Paul Parra missing a front wing? I think we might have had a collision here. Yep, Paul Parra missing his front wing. It's going from bad to worse for the TGF man. And he will have to come off of the hard tyre as well. So, mediums for 20 laps for Paul Parra. This is going to be a struggle now of a race, and he's got a drive-through penalty to make things worse. Really rushing himself into the pits. Hopefully, oh, it's everyone else pits actually. Here we go. Pit stops are coming in. I didn't expect everyone to be coming in here, but it looks like everyone going onto the mediums. Very, very interesting, and the EXT pair have had to double stack. And Duncan is going to have lost a fair chunk of time, as it's always all over the place coming out of the pits. Back markers being caught up with the front runners. Oh, and there we go. Jordan Lancer into the back of Killer Storm. Shoves him out the way. That is not the way you overtake. And we'll be seeing that in a bit, as Killer Storm is now into the wall as well. Those tyres are way too hot. I'm sure he'll be coming in at the end of this lap, and now it's suddenly gone dramatic, as there we see people braking early. These guys following Alexinho, and he's got the older tyres compared to the guys behind him, and they're having to brake earlier, but they're not realising that. And Jordan Lancer's just pushing people around here, and Lucas is now going to take full control of that error that Jordan's made. And I think Jordan has now dropped 3 places. As we see Ghost coming into the pits. Has Jordan now got damage? Not sure. Alexinho comes into the pits. He gets out of the way, as we see Nico now running away with it. Jordan Lancer left the session. Is that just connection, or has Jordan decided to leave here? I hope that's just connection and he can get back in, but he won't be happy with that last lap of racing that he produced from himself, because he's caused a couple of incidents. Well, at least one incident, and he was racing quite fast to the other. It was with both RVLs actually. Killer Storm first, and then Alexinho, who was basically just giving him constant love taps. As here you go, Nico round the outside. That's a lovely move on Rumsco. New tyres compared to old. Got the better grip, got the better pace, moves himself up into P2. You got a few guys still running out there with the tyres they started on, Rumsco being one of them. Jordan has rejoined, so that must have just been a connection issue. And PLX is our race leader now, so as Lucas sets the fastest lap, are we going to see any movement? I'm not sure. We might see one further back. Nope, that's just in the pits. Duncan going for a move on Ghost up the inside. Nicely done from the EXT man, who, oh, has he got that done? Because Ghost is coming back at him. Yeah, he's got it done. The DRS helping him to maintain that gained position. But yeah, Duncan really trying to get back here with with that the stack pit stop with his teammate Nam. So he's lost out. He's trailing about 5 minutes off the rest of the pack that he was originally with. And he's really trying to make up the ground here. As we see, is that Nam? Well, they're struggling to try. They're trying to get past Rumsko, who's on the old 17-lap hards. And it looks like they're going to have it done. Carefully does it. Nam trying to navigate his way round. And Rumsko decides, I've had enough of those hards. Get me on those fresh mediums. As now nearly everyone has pitted. You still have Martin of LRN, Jeroen, Diavel, and Pablo doing 16 laps on the soft tyres. They must be in a right state. And then, of course, LDL PLX, who is our current race leader. But, as Jordan once again leaves the session. Don't like to see that. My comments weren't working, so we've got some comments coming back through now. Sluby says pole power robbed. Sieb says not ideal. No, never ideal. I believe you're commenting on the fact that they staggered their pit stops and double stacked. So it is a shame for EXT, but Duncan's there now. He's back in the position he was in, albeit with Ghost behind him. So he's got some work to do to catch up to his teammate and the rest of the guys. I'm sure PLX won't make this hard. No, he won't. So Nico retakes the lead in the race. PLX comes into the pits after going 18 laps on the hard tyre. Let's go back to the fight for the podium positions, because Nico now has a 4-second lead and is looking pretty good. I don't know where exactly he's got that from. I believe it might have been the traffic of the guys who hadn't pitted holding up the rest of the guys, and Nico's managed to slip through nice and easy. So he's got the free air. He's got no one pressuring him. And he could be looking on for his second win of the season, and we're only 3 rounds in. Nico looking strong once again. Martin picking up a penalty. That's going to hamper his finishing position, but yet to stop LRN Martin, so he will drop down once he takes that pit stop. But it's Lucas, Nordic Ninja and Nam here fighting for the podium positions. So TGF looking to get back-to-back podiums. They got a double podium and of one being race win last week. But can they finish with a man on the podium in Lucas? RLS, Nordic Ninja, showing as well as qualifying pace. He's also got very good race pace. And we saw EXT Nam in Spain. He produced a fine race to come back from the back of the grid to the top 5, I believe it was. I think it was 5th and 6th. They ended up, the EXT pair. So once again, EXT proving they got really good, strong race pace. And a team I'm definitely keeping an eye on, because I think it's a team game, isn't it? Really, you've got to make sure both your drivers are doing well. It's fair in saying we've got one driver that can win so many races, but it is a team game, and you do need your teammate to be helping out on the points side of things. But if we do remember 2 seasons ago, season 4, you'll remember Mr. Humphreys himself taking, I think, out of the season, it was 6 or 7 race wins, and pretty much single-handedly bringing his team the championship. And that was quite an impressive season from him. Once he got out in front into free air, he was absolutely gone. So you can do it with just one driver, but of course he did have teammates that produced some points, and those some points are the crucial ones to get you in position. As we see Duncan and Ghost going side by side. Ghost looking to retake P5 as LDL PLX takes the fastest lap on those fresh medium tyres. It's 1:17.6. That will be nice for them. If LDL Nico can bring home the race win and PLX can bring home the fastest lap. It's a shame for Jordan Lancer. He was up here in this battle for the podium places race win earlier on, and a couple of disconnections and a little incident as well has really put him out of this, to be honest, sitting in no man's land, 4 seconds away from Duncan and Ghost, and he's got PLX 3.4 seconds behind him, but PLX is showing good pace on fresh set, and Pol Para, it's not been his night, really has not been his night, as he picks up a 3-second time penalty. Sieb says Nico has checked out. He has indeed. He's maintaining this really strong 4-second gap at the front. And the good thing for him really is the 3 behind him are all within DRS of each other. So even if they are catching, it's highly likely that they're going to slow each other down by going 4 moves and positions. So that's what we're going to keep an eye on, although there is movement further back as Rambo making himself gain a position, moving up into P9 ahead of Mustik. Mustik's quietly got himself into the top 10 there, but these two, Rambo and Mustik, running the hards, which should be better towards the end compared to the medium runners right now. The medium runners will have the pace on them, but they've got to think long game. They've got to think in about 7-8 laps time, the mediums will start to struggle. They'll start to lose the grip, start to lose the pace, and then that's when the hard runners can pounce and gain those few extra temps. So they've got to just take care of these tyres. Don't worry about the medium runners, because I reckon they will have a chance of coming back towards these guys, although Rambo sitting 6.5 seconds behind PLX. So I think P9 is the highest these guys are going to look at, as we're looking at Alexinho pressurising the back of Mustik, and Mustik doing a good job of keeping him behind at the moment and actually bringing his teammate towards DRS, but not just yet. And Alexinho makes his move up the inside. Mustik tries the aggressive defence, and goes really late on the brakes, tries to turn in pretty early. I wouldn't say Alexinho done anything wrong there, to be honest. I think Mustik just tried to turn in when a car was there, and that space was occupied, unfortunately. So Alexinho up into the top 10. I'm sure Mustik and Rumsco will do a position change here between teammates, because you got Rumsco on the medium tyre. He'll be the faster car. So if he switches through, which they do now, very tidy, and keep Mustik, the plan should be to keep Mustik in that DRS, and then Rumsco can drag him back towards Alexinho. But Mustik has got to stay within the DRS, and he's already falling out of it, which he just has. So Mustik not going to be able to get dragged up, but Rumsco is gaining fast on Rumsco. He's got the 2 laps fresher tyres to the RVL man. So is he going to be able to avenge the position of his teammate? Half a second he's got to gain towards this turn 1, and it's not going to be close enough. But he'll sit pretty, and nearly pushing Alexinho around there. But this is the closest battle on track, actually. No, it's not. Pol Para, back in P15, is fighting away, or trying to gain a position on LRN Martin. I mean, when a race isn't going your way, it's not going your way, but you stay in the race, you bring the car home, you gain valuable points for your team, and he's doing the right thing. A lot of people, or some people, would lose their head and go, what is this luck? Or why should I continue all of this? You just got to think of the team game. You got to think long game. There's still 7 races to go in this EML season. And you've got to think long game. You've got to think crucial, valuable points. No matter how large or small the amount is, they could all come to be very valuable at the end of the season, as LDL PLX makes his move up the inside of Jordan Lancer, and he's making some good ground on his mediums. So he's got 5.3 seconds to gain on Duncan. Is that going to be doable to get into the top 6 for PLX? It's going to be tight, but he's showing some really strong pace. I wouldn't count it out, as Rumsco is really on the back of Alexinho, as Jordan Lancer now picks up a time penalty. I think that's his second time penalty of the race. Maxence Naru says overcut is paying off now. Yeah, I guess, Rumsco is showing the better pace to Alexinho at the moment, but he's been sitting there now for about 3 laps. Still yet to make an attempt to get this move done. So he really wants to get this done and get down the road to Rambo, because he's carrying a time penalty. And with only 8 laps or so of this race left, you really need to start making the most time you can if you've got a time penalty attached to you. Let's see. I mean, he's 7 tenths, just 6 tenths now away. And I just don't think it's going to be close enough, as Alexinho is now starting to get close to the DRS of Rambo. Still no movement at the front. I see Duncan is pretty close to Ghost, but I don't think we're going to see a move. He's just chasing him around, coming up to the chicane in Sector 2. So stay on board for the fight for P10, which could come soon to be the fight for P9, and it could be a freeway. Maxence saying the overcut is paying off now for PLX. Okay, yes. Yeah, no, it is coming. That gap was 5.5, I believe, and it's now 4.6. So he is gaining on Duncan. Whether he's gaining enough to be able to have an attempt to take P6 at the end, we'll have to wait and see. That's going to be one that could come to fruition towards the end of this race. I'm seeing possible move. Martin gaining. There's a move at the back of the field as well between Pablo and Jeroen. Pablo getting past as Martin's pushing around Killer Storm. Let's see if Martin seems to be quite close here. Can he make a move into turn 1 against RVL Killer Storm up the inside? DRS wide open, and he takes P13 respectively. Can he maintain it? Yes, he can. DRS very helpful here, because despite taking the inside line and the line that's going to give you the least traction out of the corner, you got the DRS, which helps maintain that position once you've gained it. And Martin's actually coming up to Moostic. So Moostic really not showing great pace on these hard tyres, really struggling. He's 5 seconds off of his teammate now. Doesn't seem comfortable with these hard tyres, and is now coming under pressure from Martin and Killer Storm. He just doesn't look comfortable. Really doesn't look comfortable on these hard tyres. And Martin's having a look to see if he can get the move done early, but I think he's well aware that he needs the DRS to be able to also fend off Killer Storm down into turn 1, as Moostic is going to come under pressure here, and it could be 2 positions lost. So here we go, down towards turn 1. Rumsco is close to Alexinho as well. I don't think a move's happening. There goes Martin up the inside. Killer Storm looking around the outside. Can he get it done? No, he can't. And I think Moostic actually gets back ahead of Martin. He does. So Moostic staying ahead. Nice battling going on here. Martin takes the inside. Does get the move done. And now Killer Storm comes back again. Oh, that could have ended up ugly but they pulled out a nice bit of respect there to make sure each other stays in this race. Don't want to ruin a race. Mustik does drop those 2 places after a strong fight. Nice fighting from him, some nice racing there, and good respect between the drivers to notice when it was getting a bit touch and go. Alexinho has been passed as well by Rumsco while we were watching that little battle. So Rumsco now up into the top 10, and he can now push on to try and get 3 seconds away from Alexinho, and he's not too far off Rumsco, but he does get a bit of a slapper out of the penultimate corner, and that's going to invite Alexinho to have a go. Duncan is still sitting behind Ghost within a couple of tenths. Rumsco going defensive, defending the inside, keeping it tight. Let's go on board with Alexinho. Alexinho doesn't seem like he got the best of turn 1, so he'll stay where he is. Rumsco stays in P10. Let's move forward. Duncan still sitting behind Ghost. It's sort of, I wouldn't blame people for thinking this race has petered out a bit, and I did expect to see some more battling, some more overtakes, and there's quite a wide field spread as well, which is not great to see. You'd expect people to be a bit closer together, but I think that VSC really threw strategies out the window and caused a lot of drivers to be sort of caught out on the opposite strategy to others. So, but Duncan's still sitting in P6. Maybe he's biding his time. I think he might be biding his time, thinking I can stay here till maybe the last lap, and then I'll make my move. So we'll go away from them. Hopefully we don't miss a move there. Back up to the top, and Nam is falling away a little bit. He's now actually regained a couple of attempts, so as I say that, he is still in this fight for the podiums with Nam, Nordic Ninja and Lucas. As we see, Paul Parra further down takes Mustik. No, they're still fighting. Let's go on board. Let's have a look. Mustik staying ahead up the inside. So Mustik keeps that position. Let's go back to the front. And Nico's lead has actually come down. It was a 4-second lead, but it is now 2.3. I wonder if he's having to fuel save at all. I don't think he is, but it's down to 2.4. You know, Nico, he's a cool-headed man. He's got a race win under his belt already this season in Spain. And I can't see him losing his head here at all. Very composed drive from the Belgian man. And Nam is falling. He keeps falling out of DRS, but he keeps jumping back in. So he's on the verge, and I don't think he's got the car and the tyres under him to be able to fight these two to get into those podium positions. Nordic Ninja has stayed close. Ooh, losing the rears there. Has stayed close to Lucas ever since those pit stops, but has not been able to make any sort of move. As Tigres takes Paul Parra into the pits. So Paul Parra, I assume, will be going to the softs, going for a fastest lap attempt. As Nam gets a 3-second time penalty, and that will be him out of this podium fight for sure. Thankfully, he has got 8-second gap to Ghost behind him, so it's not going to affect him in terms of P4. But the podium is pretty certain to be out of question unless Ninja or Nordic Ninja or Lucas pick up a penalty in these final 3 laps. The gap is coming down to Nico, but I think he's just taking it easy. I don't think he's struggling as such. I generally think he's just taking it a bit easy, keeping the tyres in a good condition, and also just keeping them in a good frame that he can be able to defend if he needs to and to push on. Because all he realistically needs to do here is just maintain the second gap. If he keeps that 1 second gap at the least, minimum, then I think this is plain sailing for Mr. Nico. Maxon says Lucas got DRS of Jeroen's bots. I didn't see that. And Slooby says, who has fastest lap? Obviously, he wants to know because he is Team TGF. So let's have a look. It's not that one. It's that one. It's LDL PLX with a 117.6. So let's see what Pol Para can do for TGF. Can he pick up that fastest lap for the TGF team? Obviously looking to get every single point available, maximize the amount of points you take from each round, and you'll reap the rewards towards the end of the season. Oh, we've seen a move. Duncan looking up the inside. He's pressing Ghost to try and force him into a mistake. PLX is not going to be involved in this one because he's got a penalty. Here we go. Duncan finally going for the move. He's up into P5. That was a very nice move. And Ghost gave him the respectful room. Is Ghost going to get alongside? Oh, I thought he thought about it. It's a very, very dangerous place to attempt for an overtake. But he did think about it. He had a little look. But good racing there from the pair of them. Duncan having a lovely move up the inside. And there we go. Pol Para smashes the fastest lap. That's a 116.8. No one else has pitted. So I cannot see that being beaten. And Pol Para should take that to the checkered flag. Talking of checkered flags, or related to checkered flags, we now enter the final lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And Nico 1.6 ahead here. And Slooby said, that's why I asked Lowell. He wanted to know. Of course he wanted to know. And he smashed it. He didn't need to worry about what it was. On fresh softs, of course he was going to get it. Lucas being passed there. We missed that as I was reading the comments. Sorry, but Nordic Ninja has made that move on the final lap. He's bided his time. And he's gone for it. Are we going to see a reply from Ghost on Duncan? No, he doesn't have an answer for it. Lucas has been passed here on the final lap. Nordic Ninja biding his time, and maybe that was the game plan all along. Just sit and wait, because maybe he felt, what's the point in going full on and trying to catch Nico, because Nico clearly has a good race car, good race setup, and shows some good pace. Lucas, nearly going quite wide there. Both burning battery, really pushing in these last stages, in the last sector. But let's go on board with our man, LGL Nico. He took pole here, showed real pace, and it's going to be the second win for himself and LDL this season. LDL Nico wins the Hungary Grand Prix. Nordic Ninja finishes in second with a nice last lap move on Lucas, who finishes up in P3. That's your podium. Nam was with them the whole way, but in the end, the penalty really outdone his chances of getting onto the podium. Nevertheless, a great drive from himself and his teammate. It's a double top 5 for EXT, and these guys really showing a strong team performance. Ghost, nice race from him. Unfortunately, a few laps to go. Duncan made his move and Ghost didn't have the time to reply, but takes home a very good P6. Very consistent race. LDL PLX brings home P7. Jordan Lancer, couple of connection issues, caught up in an incident as well. That's meant he's finished in P8. Rambo rounding out a nice and quiet P9 there, really. So well done to him for just easing through to a nice top 10 finish. And RVL Alexinho takes the final top 10 spot. So, who's going to be given the driver of the day? It is Ghost. Yeah, I was thinking Ghost might be along the lines. He drove a strong race there. Didn't really go wrong, apart from letting Duncan through, but it was a very, very nice sweeping move up the inside from Duncan. And there he is, the Belgian, your race winner, LDL Nico. And what a race he had there. Maybe got quite fortunate with that virtual safety car, which put him out into what we believe was a nice bit of fresh air, or managed to get through the guys that were yet to pit pretty easy compared to the guys behind him. And that gave him that gap to push away and just maintain a strong race pace and take it to the checkered flag. So there we have it, confirmation of your Hungarian Grand Prix race results. It's LDL Nico who takes the race win from pole. Nordic Ninja takes P2 with Lucas in P3. EXT Nam and EXT Duncan in P4 and 5. Ghost takes P6 from P17. 11 places gained from Ghost. Congratulations to him. That's a very, very strong result. LDL PLX takes P7. Jordan Lancer, an unfortunate race, could have been a lot more. Finishes in P8. P9's Rambo, Alexinho, Storm, Martin, Rumsco, Moostic, Tigritz, Polpara, Diavol, Pablo, Giroux, and Skies rounding out the end, who crashed just after turn 1, caught up in all of that kerfuffle, which saw Polpara spun around the wrong way, and that's where his race peaked, really, turn 1. So the fortune favours some, but not all. And there you have it. So LDL and Nico taking a second race win. So congratulations to him and the team. Thank you, everyone, for joining me in the stream once again. It's been me on my own again, so I hope you have enjoyed my commentary. We'll make sure we'll have someone alongside me next week. I'll find someone. I'll find someone fun, and we can have a good time. But thank you for joining me. Please do like the stream before you go. Really does help us out, helps me out, makes me feel good, means you appreciate my commentary, and I like that. Also, subscribe to League Racing TV, where you cannot miss any of this F2 season, because it's going to be a belter. It already is. 3 races in. We've got some good teams here, and I think it could be a 3 or 4-way fight for the title this season. That's what I'm seeing here play out in front of our eyes. So do subscribe to League Racing TV, and make sure now, after I send you off, go over to F1, where James and Mike are taking you through the top tier and the 10 best esports teams in the scene, battling it out around the Hungaroring. But thank you once again for joining me. That was the Hungarian Grand Prix. We'll be back again next week, same time, 7 p.m, for the next round, which is round 4, and we will be heading to Mexico, the Mexican Grand Prix. So that will be an interesting one, a big one on tyre wear, tyre strategy, race strategy, and one big start straight down into turn 1. So that turn 1 will be one to watch. Will they be wanting to start on pole? There could be some tactics. You might not want to start on pole here, because the drag down into turn 1 in Mexico is a big one. But make sure you tune in to find out what happens. Join me again, Lesty, next week for the Mexican Grand Prix. That is on the 20th of March. 13th of March, 7 p.m. UK time. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you all next week. Take care and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.